We have some new allegations against Huawei this morning. The Washington Post is reporting that the Chinese tech giant helped the North Korean government build and maintain the country's commercial wireless network. This comes as officials from Google, Intel, Qualcomm, and Micron are reportedly heading to the White House to discuss the U.S. ban on Huawei. The U.S. placed the Chinese telecom company on the Commerce Department's so-called entity list back in May over national security concerns. U.S. parts and components generally cannot be sold to companies that are on this list without special licenses. Yahoo Finance's Aikiko Fujita joins us now to discuss all things Huawei. Akiko, of course, you sat down exclusively with the company's CEO about how they are dealing with their current crisis, which feels like every day, every hour, there is something new and negative when it comes to Huawei's relationship with U.S. counterparts.
Yeah, so let's start with the North Korea allegation, this report that came out from the Washington Post today, because that's going to raise more questions about whether, in fact, Huawei violated sanctions, this time against North Korea, at a time when they're already under investigation. Remember, Zhengfei's daughter was arrested back in December for allegations that the company violated Iran sanctions. Now, this, of course, is not something we got into with Zhengfei, but he is really facing what he said is kind of a crisis mode for the company right now. They have taken a significant hit as a result of the company being added to the entity list. They've said that the material impact is likely to be about $30 billion. So that's where we started this conversation. I asked him, what exactly that impact is likely to be for the company and how long the company can survive without U.S. components.
I think the entity list is actually a good thing for our company. It's not a bad thing. In the past, our employees turned a deaf ear to our training. Many employees enjoyed their life in their comfort zone. They earned a lot and often spent extravagantly. More and more employees were not fully committed to their work. The entity list has injected a sense of crisis in our employees and inspired passion across the company. This has provided an opportunity for us to reposition underperforming managers and replace them with outstanding young employees. This has helped increase our vitality. In this sense, the entity list is not a negative, but a positive. It has motivated our team. Of course, it would be better if Huawei were removed from the entity list. But even if that doesn't happen, we will not face too much pressure. Some say that removal may not happen for 5 years. But will we even need removal by that point? I don't think so. Our first half business results should be very good, but we will see real material impact in the second half of the year.
Given the environment that we're in right now, I've heard a lot of people refer to this as a new Cold War, that there is a digital iron curtain that is going up as a result of what the U.S. has done moving forward on pressuring the Chinese and trying to sort of constrain the technology. Is that where we're headed right now?
Although the U.S. is giving us a hard time right now, if they stop doing so, we can still be friends. We will continue to buy components from U.S. companies. However, we have to be more cautious. In the past, we were comfortable signing 10-year contracts with U.S. companies, buying large quantities of goods from them. But now, we will have to sign smaller contracts on a rolling basis. In case they no longer sell us certain components, all other components will become useless. By signing smaller contracts on a rolling basis, we'll be able to more easily bear the losses caused by a supply problem.
One of the things that I have noticed walking around campus, we saw that image of the plane. You've talked a lot about this plane being able to fly despite having holes in it. Why this symbolism? Why have you chosen that plane to represent Huawei?
I saw it on the internet shortly after the U.S. put us on the entity list. I had a feeling that it resembled us so much, seriously injured with wounds all over our bodies, with only our hearts beating. The aircraft was able to fly home. I believe we will also be able to fly home and land safe and sound.
Is there a particular company or a business leader that you really admire in the U.S.?
I admire a lot of them. There are many great business leaders in the U.S. I admire the leaders of Google, Amazon, and the like. Bezos, our family admires him so much. When the couple said they wanted to divorce, they got divorced immediately and split $60 billion. My family doesn't have $60 billion, so we can't split that much. How could you not admire him? I'm also a big fan of Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. My younger daughter is a huge fan of Mr. Jobs. On the day he passed away, she was still a little girl and proposed that we have a moment of silence to mourn him. And we did.
So a bit of a lighthearted moment there with Ren Zhengfei weighing in on Jeff Bezos' divorce. But, in all seriousness, he has made it very clear that he was inspired by a lot of these American companies, and that is where Huawei is today, on the backs of it. But he also made it very clear he doesn't believe the U.S. is the future and that the U.S. is making a big mistake, no surprise, by moving forward in this way and pressuring.
I mean, unsurprisingly, as this SOT was playing, we talked a lot about how he is very similar to Trump in mannerisms and decor, in his taste and the way he's very ostentatious. When you think about his kind of juxtaposition and the way he says, no, we are taking a hit, but also, no, we're fine. The U.S. is going to lose. China will prevail no matter what Trump tries to do to us. Where do you feel like he's trying to shape the narrative right now? Who is he trying to gain curry favor with?
As the founder of Huawei, he's of course going to spin this as a positive for the company, right? What we did hear consistently from other executives we met on the campus is that, yes, they are taking a hit right now. And he's talked about that $30 billion mark. And Ren Zhengfei himself said it's going to be about 2 years. But 3 years into all of this, they will bounce back. And I don't know if you caught that one line where he said 5 years from now, if we are still on the entity list, you won't have to remove us because we will be self-sufficient.
Interesting.
All right, and be sure to stay with us all day here on Yahoo Finance for more of Aikiko's exclusive interview with Huawei CEO Ren Zhengfei.